What's up, St. Philip family? I want you to think about a time that you were so hungry or so thirsty. So hungry, so thirsty. Like, can you remember a time in particular where you're just like, I really need food, or I need water. I'm so parched. Can you remember that? Think about it. I know mine. Two of my brothers and I went on a trip out west it was an amazing trip, and we wanted to climb a 14er, so a mountain that is over 14,000 feet, which is about a little more than 14,000 times the elevation that we have here in southern Louisiana. And so we climbed this mountain, Pikes Peak, and they told us beforehand, they said, at least bring 1 liter of water. Bring at least 1 liter of water. And I was like, okay. I got my Camelback, and that should be enough. 7 liters later, I drank over 7 liters of water, and I'm still like dying. I was up there. The elevation was killing me. I could only every 10 feet, I was like, okay, make it to that rock. Okay, next rock, we can do it. And it was then I can eat a Cliff Bar. I needed food, and I needed water. And I was just so thirsty the whole time. And then you get to the top of the mountain, and there's a donut shop that people drive to. And my brothers and I were like, dead, and these people in flip-flops are enjoying their donuts. That was my time. I was so thirsty, and I was so hungry. I was so tired, and I needed that to keep me going. So here's the question. Is that how I approach the Eucharist? Is that how I approach Jesus? Do I approach Jesus in the Eucharist so hungry and so thirsty, like I'm gonna die without him? Maybe we're like, oh no, I need to work on that. I don't actually do that. But you do. We do. We are so hungry, so thirsty to be a better spouse, to be a better parent. We are so hungry, so thirsty to be more loving, to be more patient, to be more kind, to be more the fullness of ourselves. In our suffering, we're so longing, so hungry, so thirsty for comfort, for strength. We are longing for the Eucharist. Jesus says, this is my body. This is my blood. This is love itself. I am love. Here, take love itself. Here, take the fire of God and let it sustain you and strengthen you and heal you and comfort you. I'm giving you myself. Yeah, we're hungry and we're thirsty for that. And there are saints, they're called the living miracles of the Eucharist. There are certain saints who were sustained entirely by only the Eucharist. For years, St. Catherine of Siena, for the last years of her life, she only consumed the Eucharist. That her family was trying to give her food, trying to give her, other things, and it would make her super sick. So she couldn't eat anything else, only the Eucharist, and for years she was sustained. St. Joseph Cupertino, the last 5 years of his life, 5 years, he was sustained by only the Eucharist. And there's a new saint in the making, a Blessed Alexandrina. She's from Portugal. She's called the 4th Visionary of Fatima. And 1955, okay, so she died in 1955. The last 13 years of her life, for 13 years, she received only the Eucharist. And they did studies, they did tests, they did research. 1955, not that long ago. So they tried to figure out what in the world, this is a miracle. That for 13 years, she would not eat or drink anything other than the body and blood of Christ. And I'm talking like receiving Holy Communion once a day. That's it. Amazing. The Eucharist is true food and true drink. And it's what we most hunger for. This is God. This is the Lord of the universe who gives himself to us, sustaining us in our charity, giving us strength and comfort in our suffering. This is real. I want you to think about another thing now. I want you to think about the most famous person in the world, someone that you want to meet. Think about the most famous person that you'd want to meet. And they can be someone who, if it's Elvis, we can bring him back. So think about a person that you would love to meet. And then let's take it a step further. So you imagine you're meeting this person, okay? That's super exciting, right? It's like, wow, I get to meet this person. and they're so famous, and wow, it's gonna be, I don't know what I'm gonna say, you know, so you get to meet them, take another step. That person knows you. So in meeting them, you go to meet them, and they say your name. Hey, Andrew, what's up? That would be amazing, right? So it's like, not only do I get to meet this person, but this person knows me, like actually knows me, and like, I wanna meet this person because I wanna be in their orbit for like a second, but like, they know me, so I'm like a part of them. Amazing, so cool. I actually have a story about that. So I was at a Saints game one time, and Drew Brees was there, and he was like saying hi to everyone. It was before, you know, it was after he retired, so he was greeting a bunch of people, and then he came over and he looked right at me, and then he kept on going, as if he didn't even know me, as if he'd never seen me in his life. I was like, come on, Drew, I thought we were boys. He had never seen me in his life. That was his first time seeing me. But that's so, I mean, that'd be so amazing if he was just like, hey, Father Andrew, what's going on? It's like, yeah, he knows me, you know? So cool, right? And then let's take it a step further. Whoa. Let's say this person, this celebrity that you're thinking of, okay, that you'd love to meet, they know you, and they know you so well that they say, hey, I want you to come over to my house and have dinner. I'm inviting a few people over. I'd love for you to come. So you are now invited to this person's house for dinner. Okay, so let's think about that. So first of all, you're probably like, MTV Cribs, like what's his house gonna look like? Like what's in there? I can't wait to check it out. I hope we get a tour, really awesome. And then I'm thinking like, what am I gonna wear? I mean, like this is a dinner with, you know, different people. And so I don't wanna look like, you know, like I don't have it together. I wanna dress nice and, you know, like make an impression and be respectful. So wow, that's what I'm gonna wear, and I'm like excited thinking about it. And then he says, he's like, hey, I'm gonna open, like doors are open at like 5 p.m., but we're gonna sit down at 6 p.m. So like 5, you get an hour for cocktails or whatever, but dinner's like, we're gonna sit down at 6 p.m. So I'm gonna arrive within the 5 o'clock. I'm definitely gonna get there before 6 because I don't wanna be the one that's just like, you know, rude, not showing up when he's like gonna have everyone seated for dinner and I'm not gonna be there. Like, no, I'm gonna be there on time. I'm gonna be there for the cocktail hour. That's gonna be great. So all these things, right? I'm thinking about what I'm gonna wear. I'm gonna be punctual. What are we gonna say? I don't know. You know, thinking about that. I'm getting excited about that. And so then I get there. I knock on the door, and he greets me by name. And he says, I have been looking forward to this for so long. I've been looking forward to this every day. I'm just so excited. I'm so glad you're finally here and we can share this time together. Like, wow, this person who it's crazy. He knows me, says my name, and he's been excited and thinking about seeing me this whole time. Like, he's been looking forward to seeing me. I've been looking forward to seeing him. Like, I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like starstruck. I get to be in this person's house. I get to be with them and like in their presence. Like, this is amazing. And yet they were longing for me. Like, they're so happy that I'm there. Now, would I engage that person in a conversation? Like, would I, if I was greeted like that, like, oh, Andrew, it's so good to see you. Thank you so much for coming. I've been looking forward to this for so long. Am I gonna like receive that? Hopefully. Of course. Or what, I mean, like, I wouldn't just like see my friends in the other part of the room and be like, hey, okay, thanks. Good to see you too. And zoom over there. Like, I wouldn't do that. No, I wouldn't go and immediately talk to other people or immediately leave him. He's like, hey, I've been looking forward to this moment. And you'd be like flattered, right? I'm like blown away that he wants to be with me in this moment. And then we sit down to dinner, and I'm gonna be really engaged in that conversation. Maybe I'll be afraid to speak, you know, or whatever, but like, I'm gonna be listening, I'm gonna be attentive, I'm gonna be like really trying to be on my best behavior while I'm eating, not to like look like a slob, you know, like try to use manners, be polite, all these things. I'm gonna be very attentive to the meal. I wouldn't just like fall asleep in the middle of the meal, right? Or like start looking at my phone, or just, you know, looking at the watch, be like, man, when's this guy gonna stop talking? You know? No, I'd be like, I am going to soak in every minute of this. Like, this is amazing. I'm gonna listen to everything he has to say. I can't believe he knows my name. I can't believe I get to be in this moment. This meal is so amazing. All of these things, right? I'm gonna be so engaged and so captivated, like, and I'll be a little nervous probably, like to do something wrong or to be rude. I'll be like on my best behavior. because this person's famous. This person's important. And I'm like starstruck that I get to be in their presence. And so like, there's no way that I would say, oh, yeah, you know what? I got this thing. I'm really sorry. It's been great to like spend this time with you. Thank you so much. Like, I love it, but I gotta go. I'm just a really busy person. Like I got a million things to do, and actually like, I don't really have to do it right now, but like the to-do list is just, it's just so big, because we have the family and we have all these things. So like, I just want to get a head start, like, so thanks for dinner, take a bite, and like, you would never do that. You would, first of all, you'd clear the calendar. We would clear the calendar. Nothing would take priority over this opportunity to be at this person's house for dinner. No way. Like, nothing. Everyone would understand you need to be at this. Like, you've got to be at this dinner. So I would clear the schedule, and I'm not leaving because I want to soak in every single part of that. And also, like, why would I leave halfway through the meal? The bread pudding is probably amazing. Like, why would I want to miss the bread pudding? Why would I miss the end of the meal? Like, that's going to be so good. So I would stay there for the meal. And I would stay until the host rises and calls it a night. When the host rises and says, thank you for coming, and he walks me to the door. He walks me into the door and ushers me out and says, go in peace. I can't wait to see you again. That's when I would leave. When the host would get up from the table, when the meal is over and finished, and then he walks us to the door, and then the host leads us out. That's when I would leave. So I'm sure by this point, you understand where I'm going with this. We would do that for that famous person, or that person that we so long to be known by, that we would love to like experience this with this person. Well, the God of the universe, the one who created everything out of nothing, the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, Jesus Christ, is our host. He's here. He is right in the tabernacle. Right there. You can see it through there. I think. You can see back there. There you go. He's right there. And he's waiting for you. He's been waiting for you. He wants this time with you. He wants to share this time with you. And as soon as you walk into the doors of the church, he says, by name, speaks your name, and he says, I've been longing to have this time with you. I've been waiting for you to come. I haven't thought about anything else. I've been so excited for you to be here. And so he greets us. So the question is, do I engage the host when he greets me at the door, calls me by name, knows me, says he's been longing to be with me? Or do I zoom to my place, catch up with my friends, talk to other people while he's trying to talk to me? Do I engage the host? And when I come in, that moment, that first moment, I need to have that time to prepare my heart. And what Jesus wants to know is he wants to catch up. How's your week been? What has been happening in your life? What is burdening you? What struggles do you bring? What is your challenge? Tell me about your challenges. Tell me about your suffering and your trials. Tell me what you need. I'm here for you. I've been longing to be with you. Let's share this time together. And so before Mass, I come in quietly, silently, and I come to my pew, and I am greeted by Jesus, and I engage him in a conversation. We catch up, and I tell him what's going on in my life. I tell him where my heart is. I tell him my struggles and my sufferings. I ask him for strength and for help and for patience and for love and for comfort, all those things, and he is so excited to be there with me. And then we sit down to a meal. The Mass begins. And this is unlike any other meal because he ends up giving me himself. And so as I'm in this meal, I'm engaged. I'm not sleeping. I'm not bored. I'm not distracted by other things. I'm engaged in this meal of actual worship that I can't believe he's here. Think about a concert. We basically worship, at a concert. We put our hands in the air, right? And we light our lighters. Like, we're willing to do that at a concert. But like here, God is here. The living God, Jesus Christ, is right there. And so I worship him and I'm with him. And then the moment of communion comes. And think about this, like that Jesus, the Lord of the universe, the God who created everything out of nothing, he then humbles himself Beyond our comprehension, he humbles himself to be in the form of bread, not bread, but it looks like bread. He looks like bread. And he says, the body of Christ, this is me. Everything you desire, the love that you want, I'm giving that to you. The strength that you want, I'm giving that to you. The comfort you want, I'm giving that to you. The patience you want, I'm giving that to you. The peace that you want, I'm giving that to you because I'm giving you my very self. And so when we come before Jesus in that moment of communion, we bow before God. We bow. If we receive on the hands, we make a throne with our hands. We're so reverent with I'm a sinner. I have sinful hands. And the infinite God is placed on my hands. He allows himself to be placed on my hands. And so my body should show with every part of me that this is God. And this is the one that I'm hungering for, that I'm thirsting for. I come before him worshiping and thirsty, longing for him, pining for him. And then I receive him. And I sit in communion with him. I sit in communion with him. The meal is concluded. I rest in communion. And then there's the final prayer and the final blessing. And the host, Jesus Christ, rises from the table and processes out and leads me into the world. He leads us out. And so I wait for the host. I wait for him to rise, and he leads me out. And the reason I wait is because this is not a thing in my life. Going to Mass is not one thing that I do in my life that is nice or that's helpful or a supplement. This is the very meaning and purpose of my life. This is the most important moment of my life because this is where God is present, and I worship him, and he gives me the strength and that sustains me to move forward. I don't want to miss a single minute of this meal. Nothing. I don't want to miss anything. And I could never possibly be too busy for the Lord of the universe. What could I possibly have that's more important than being in the presence of God? We have to remember that. So I wait, and Jesus leads me out. This is what I want us to do as a parish at St. Philip Neri. We have Jesus here in the Eucharist. And so often we can forget the gift that is actually the purpose and meaning of my life, that the God who created me actually gives himself to me. Like, it's crazy. The same God who created me gives himself to me and says that he wants to encounter me in this place, says that he's waiting for me. He's longing for me. He's the one that yearns for me. He's thirsting for me, and I'm the one that needs him. And so he's thirsting for me, and I'm coming to encounter him here. So I want us to focus on something. We're going to move forward in this way. And there are 3 words I want you to remember: prepare, participate, and wait. That's what we're going to be focusing on. Prepare. That we are going to prepare by coming into the church. Every time we come to Mass, we're going to come into the church and we're going to remain quiet. That before Mass, it's going to be quiet so that the host, Jesus Christ, can speak to the hearts of all of his guests, all of those who are gathered here. He can speak to us and we can speak to him. We want a space where people can pray and they can give their heart to Jesus, prepare their heart for the Mass. So we're going to do that. And we're also going to prepare by the way that we dress. We're going to wear attire that says, I am going to be in the presence of the Lord of the universe. I'm going to be in the presence of a very important person. And I'm doing something that is the most important thing in my life, to go to Mass. So we're going to prepare our hearts by dressing appropriately for Mass, something that says, communicates, I'm doing something nice. I'm going to a nice place. I'm encountering the Lord of the universe. I'm going to prepare my heart by being quiet when I come into church and coming to my pew and encountering Jesus who's there. I'm going to respect the fact that he's in the tabernacle. I'm not going to walk past him. I'm not just going to blow by Jesus. He loves me. He's looking at me. He's yearning for me. And so anytime I have to pass the tabernacle, I'm going to genuflect. I'm going to acknowledge the presence of Jesus, the host who loves me. He's there. So we're going to prepare. We're going to participate. So as we engage in the Mass, we're going to pray the prayers. We're going to sing the songs. But most importantly, more than that, more than anything that we say or even do, we're going to engage our hearts. I want to listen and hear the word of God. I want to give my heart and offer it. I want to make an offering of myself at this meal, at this sacrifice. I need to make a sacrifice. And the offertory, I'm placing my life. So I'm participating, I'm giving myself. I'm participating in when at the moment of communion, I prepare myself by going to confession and being ready in the state of grace, but I participate by bowing before God, making a throne and showing myself and everyone else that this is God, that I am able to, he's going to place himself in my hands. I'm going to receive him and I'm going to come before him hungry. My participation is hungry and thirsty. I'm hungry and thirsty. I want more, Jesus. I want more love. I want more peace. I want more strength. I want more comfort. I want to become more alive in you so that I can continue that mission that you have for me. So we come before him in reverence and in hunger and thirst, thirsting for him. And then we receive him and we sit in communion and we rest with him. And participate, we rest with him. We open our hearts, open the doors of our hearts, fully receiving that grace that he longs to pour out upon us, to fill us, to strengthen us, to satisfy our hearts. And then we wait. We wait. We wait until Jesus, the host, rises and leads us out into the world. We wait. We do not leave before the priest. We wait for Jesus to lead us out into the world, the host of the greatest meal that we get to participate in. So prepare, participate, and wait. We're going to be working on that as a parish, St. Philip Neri, and I promise if we do those things, the hunger and thirst that we already have is going to grow even more, but we're going to grow in great joy because we know the source of that. And our hearts are going to be open for that. And we can receive him more and more and more in our excellence with the Eucharist and our devotion of all of us being devoted and reverent and worshiping him is going to make visible the reality that our God is with us. And worship will be a time of amazing joy, amazing communion. And we will go out into the world on fire with the love of God to transform it to become more like him every day.